Hey guys, this is the second video on Thursday. I wanted to make sure that we continue to go through, this is day 6 from your actual staple packet that was posted April 17th. So we've been working on these days each day, but today was day 6. And I wanted to pick a couple just to go over to make sure that you guys were on the right track. The first one says, what is the x-intercept? So what I want to do is I'm going to actually get my packets, and you just look at the graph, okay? So x-intercept is where it crosses the x-axis, so that's going to be -4. Remember, your x-intercept is where y is 0, so that's going to be a -4, 0. The next one I'm going to go over is 3. So again, it's very important that you remember the opposite is 0. So if we're finding the x-intercept, then your y has to be 0. So I'm going to do 7x minus 8, and then instead of putting my y, I'm going to put 0 is equal to 32. Now what happens is these eliminate each other, and you're left with 7x equals 32. So we would actually divide by 7 on both sides. And that actually gives you a pretty long decimal, so I'm just going to leave it in fraction form, and this is improper, and that's okay. So 1 through 5 just ask you to find the x-intercept. Number 6, y-intercept. So I'm looking to see where it crosses the y-axis, and that's going to be 0, 0. So for number 6, my y-intercept is 0, 0. Over here, your y-intercept is right there. So y-intercept is where the opposite is 0. So if I'm looking for my y-intercept, then x has to be 0. So following those lines, I'm going to plug in x is 0 and then solve for my y. So what happens for number 8 is, as before, this canceled out. My first part is going to cancel out now because 2 times 0 is 0. So I'm just left with -5y equals -35. And then from there, you would end up just dividing both sides by -5. And when you do that, you would get 7. So your y-intercept is 7. And then you have similar problems on that side for day 6 skill check. I do want to make sure that I go over a word problem. So this one gives you information about John and Sarah. And it says that John's information for hiking and distance that he's traveling in kilometers is a table. So it's asking me who hikes faster. So that's finding slope, finding rate of change. So I'm just going to pick 2 ordered pairs, and I'm going to do, my change in y over change in x. So 4 minus 0 is 4, and then 1 minus 0 is 1. So John's rate is 4. And then for Sarah, I'm going to pick 2 pretty points and calculate my rise over run. So Sarah is 5, and it's asking me who hikes faster. Well, Sarah is hiking at a rate of 5, and then John is hiking at a rate of 4. So Sarah would be the faster hiker. Okay. Moving right along, I'm going to go over on the back. Number 2. I underlined this because I feel like it was very, very important. I'm not trying to figure out one specifically. I need to figure out both containers, and again, it's talking about rate, so that would be slope, but it's asking me for difference in slope. So I would need to find container 1 slope, container 2 slope, and then actually subtract them to figure out which answer works. So I'm going to pick 2 points. So if I'm looking at my graph, I see a point here and a point here that's going to hit perfectly. That is a rise of 2 and a run of 10. So that's going to be 2/10, which is 1/5. So container 1 is 1/5. And then when you have a table, you just pick, I'm going to use this ordered pair and this ordered pair, and it's changing y over changing x. So if I do 4 minus 2, that is 2. And then 10 minus 5 is 5. So I'm literally just trying to find the difference between 2/5 and 1/5. And when I subtract those, I get 1/5. So the difference between my slopes is 1/5, and that matches A. Okay, so that one is find a difference. And again, just make sure that you're reading what they're actually asking you to find. The next one I want to go over is 5. It says use the table. And obviously you're going to use the line, and then you need to compare them. And all of your answer choices are talking about their x and y intercepts. So if you can find the x and y intercept of both, then you'll be good to go as far as comparing them goes. So I'm going to go ahead and find the x and y intercept for my line A. So your x-intercept is where y is 0. So I'm going to go ahead and put y is 0. And all you have to do is look at your table. So x is -2 when y is 0. And then your y-intercept is where x is 0. So x is 0, then y is 4. You have to go a little bit further for line B, because you actually have to plug in, x being 0 and y being 0. So I'm going to go ahead and do that right now. X-intercept y is 0, y-intercept x is 0. If you plug in y is 0, so I'm going to look at y being 0, and I've already kind of started that up here. That's pretty much canceling these out, and then you would divide both sides by -5. And when you do that, you get -5. So the x-intercept is -5. And then I'm just going to kind of use the cover-up method. Your y-intercept is where x is 0, so that would not be there. And then you would just divide both sides by 5 to get your y-intercept. 25 divided by 5 will give you 5. So that would be your x and y-intercept, and then you choose which one of those actually says what it needs to say, and I'll let you guys do that. If you have any questions, let me know. I went through this question already. And the last one I think I'm going to go over is 7. It talks about Alice, and she has 2 different functions. The first one has a slope of 3, y-intercept of 4. And then the second one is in a table. And it's asking you for the distance between the y-intercepts. So the distance between them, you would end up subtracting them. So it's really clear to see that the first function has a 4 as your y-intercept. Well, I went ahead and picked 2 points and found that my slope was 5. And so knowing that, that's 5 over 1, right? So if you go up 2 to get 0, like I'm marking backwards, and 2 slopes of 5 would be 10. So if I do like 5 twice, I get 10. And 17 minus 10 would give me 7. So the y-intercept here was 7, and then you just find the distance between them, and that gives you 3. Don't forget to look at the other questions. They were very similar. I just tried to pick some that were a little bit different. I am going to teach something new on Tuesday. So on Tuesday, our Google Meet is scheduled for 2:30. I'm definitely going to keep that time. I will be ready to teach residuals with a calculator. So please try to join that if you can. I hope you guys have a great weekend. Don't forget to turn in the post-test 1 and 4 and your Delta Maths. I miss you and hope you have a great weekend. Bye.